Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. The sun is out and it's raining. If there was a better analogy for crypto right now, I don't know what it is. So thanks for watching the videos I've been posting and all the comments. I try and read most of them. Trying to find my footing here as I become a more regular content producer in this space. So I'm just trying to dig out and share the conversations that for me are meaningful and are giving me insight. But I have had a lot of requests to do a more short-term analysis just to check in, see where we are. We are kind of reaching a potential critical crossroads in this 2021 bull market. We have the patterns forming for Bitcoin to really make a decision here, breaking up or down. And across the whole market, there's just a lot of sideways movement and I don't know, not a whole lot of structure to look at, but let's dig in and let's just see what we see. All right, so let's take a peek across the market and just call out some of the things that are clearly observable. So this is the total crypto market. We've been on this really strong uptrend since mid-September, October of 2020. You can see one of my favorite indicators here. This is the stochastic RSI. It's the relative strength index oscillator. And this fluctuates between overbought and oversold. And you can see it's an oscillator. So it goes up and down. And so if it's down, eventually it's got to come back up. And if it's up, eventually it's got to come back down. And you can see that we had this really strong stochastic RSI cross in October that really kicked off this surge in price. We kind of pinned this RSI for the months of November through January. And then we've had what is called bearish divergence, where even though the price has been going up in the crypto market, we see that the relative strength index has been going down. And this is even more pronounced in Bitcoin. And to me, this is really the telltale sign of that Wyckoff distribution that was dissipating the demand. And so you can see that even though price was going up, we've had these relative strength index indicators just plummeting. And the slow moving RSI here really tells that story. You can see it's just really dropping. We crossed this line here, this orange line that you can see the last time the RSI crossed down on that 46 line was coincident with the March of 2020 crash. So we are at levels that are really consistent with a crash. And in March 2020, we actually went even lower than this, all the way down to 32 or 3 on this slow moving RSI. So it is hopeful that even though we've crossed down with this crash pattern, you can see here in the slow moving RSI for Bitcoin that we have started coming back up. This is not a guarantee that we are going to break the pattern, break the trend. This might just be putting in another lower high here. But this is really, to me, the story of the market right now. And because these are slow moving oscillators, we're looking at the weekly time frame. These are the strongest kind of data cues, indicators of the market's overall direction. It is promising to me that we do have, with this RSI oscillator, we are down, really low. As low as we've been, even if we go back to this March crash, which is right here, we're about as low as this RSI gets. And it can definitely kind of crawl along the bottom. But we have been doing that for a while, so it's only a matter of time before this comes back up. It might not be a huge move, but you can see we're already potentially forming a cross here. So, when I'm looking at Bitcoin and I'm asking myself, am I going to put my bullhorns back on and join the party, join that narrative? This to me still shows us that we have more work to do. The other indicator that I have turned on here is the bull market support band. So this is a combination of I believe it's the 20 SMA and the 21 EMA, exponential moving average and simple moving average. Essentially, these form a support that you can see when we're in a bull market. If you look left, if you look at what we've done, every time we've had one of these markets, we always come down and we kind of bounce off of this bull market support ribbon until we finally have our blow off top, and then we come through it. And once we've actually printed weekly candles below this band, historically that's been the end of the bull market. There have been moves back to the upside, but we don't put in another all-time high until we get back above that bull market support band, and then have another big bull run like this. So the fact that we have dropped down below the bull market support band, anytime we have a strong support move above us, it becomes strong resistance. So I'm not trying to be super bearish here, but as this moves back and kind of follows the price, this is going to be an area of strong resistance as we try to get back on top of it, and potentially, like in 2013, let's just take a look. Let's look back. So in 2013, when we had this pattern where we did have a first top, we broke below that bull market support band, but we never closed a candle below it. So even though this purple candle, we closed this candle, we were still in this band, and then when we opened the next candle, we were still in this band. We've never closed in a bull market below the bull market support band. But you can see this is significantly different than what we did in 2013, just in terms of this huge candle breaking down, this next weekly candle, not even getting back up to the band, and now we're working on this one. We're a few days in, I guess 2 days in, and we are, we still have a lot of area to cover to get back on top of that bull market support band. So, this is where I am in this channel trying to put forward content that is looking at the big picture, looking at the zoomed out picture, looking at the fundamental analysis of Bitcoin, not over, a monthly time frame, or not over, a daily time frame, but over a monthly and yearly time frame. And really building this narrative that we are, we're in an exciting place. Even if this is the top of the market, which we don't know yet. We do not know if we're coming back down. We're going to have an accumulation phase that lasts the summer. We're going to get this band back below us, and then have a strong foundation to move back to the upside. We don't know that, and I'm not going to make predictions about that because it's pure speculation at this point. There's really little data that I have seen or opinions that I've heard that can give that level of a confirmation. All we can look at are, time scales in which we have strong confidence. So with that said, I do want to point out that we are in this time period where on shorter time scales, let's go to Bitcoin on let's just go to 6 hour. But everyone is sort of painting into this narrative what they are hopeful to see. And I'm just at a point where we know we've had this large scale Wyckoff distribution. The complementary pattern to a Wyckoff distribution is a Wyckoff accumulation, where we do have significant move to the downside, and then we have a long phase of accumulating. So what I want you to understand is, in a Wyckoff distribution where they're selling, their whole goal is to keep the price in a channel, in a range, where they're able to sell over months and months without having the price go wildly up or wildly down. So that allows them to continue to sell at high prices without dropping the price significantly or having it run wildly out of the zone where they lose control of this pattern. And in an accumulation, it's the same thing, but they're attempting to keep the price in a range where they can accumulate without the price shooting back up and then everyone buying back in. So it's this, this seesaw of fake outs and, again, the psychology of, oh, we're going lower. Oh, no, actually, we're going higher. And no, we're going lower. The whole method behind an accumulation is to keep the price low and in a channel so that they can, acquire it without everybody else rushing back in to acquire it. So we just have to be keeping that in mind, that right now, we've kind of had this, drop from our all-time high and this UTAD. We've had these last points of supply, and we are, forming these additional patterns that are either, is this the beginning of the accumulation phase? Is this, the drop all the way down and then the automatic reaction, and then we're entering, this pattern here? We just don't know yet. And with a move like this, I'm sure there's going to be these kind of fake outs, and ultimately maybe we are just at a redistribution where we have a little bit of a distribution and then it drops even lower to get to the final accumulation. But after a distribution, we need to see, in my opinion, this level of pattern formation before we can really be confident that we're blasting back off. And so, just to be clear, that's not a doom and gloom scenario. I think that if we can establish any kind of sideways pattern like this, it's going to allow projects like Ethereum, like Cardano, like XRP, like Binance Coin, a lot of the top 10s to potentially put in some really impressive narratives and really impressive moves over this summer. So that's kind of what I have my eye on. I am still, I'll just be honest with you, I have not got to a point where I am personally buying huge quantities of Bitcoin. I am waiting to see, I have here, you can kind of see drawn this triangle continuation pattern that we've been forming. It comes to this kind of critical moment where it's either going to go up or it's going to break down. So my point is like I've been saying in a lot of this, I think this is a patience game. If you are holding Bitcoin, you are winning. I don't think there's cause for panic. I don't think there's cause to think that the investment that you made in this space is seriously threatened. If we are able to zoom out and look at this big picture, this big story that cryptocurrency and Bitcoin has been telling, we are still up. We are still way up, even for the people that bought in the very, very peak of the 2017 bull run. You're still up on Bitcoin. And even if this drops back down, let's say, right now this might just be a redistribution. Maybe we are going lower. Maybe we're going to the 20,000s. Who knows? Who really cares? The point is, when we start to see those real confirmations that we are entering that accumulation phase, we have that sideways movement that is prolonged over weeks and months. That's where the smart money is buying back in, and that's where I'm going to be building my position so that when we do turn around and blast back off, we can be moving with the market, with the smart money, instead of getting faked out by all of these kind of daily ups and downs. So that's what I'm looking for. I think that is the patience game, and we are close to, if not already in, some historic buying opportunities to increase our holdings in Bitcoin and these other assets. Because if we look at the story, we know that this is not the end. We know that we're eventually going to turn around and go back up, and it's just a matter of patience and moving with the market that is going to get us there. And if we can just get into a solid sideways moving consolidation pattern, again, I think it is the foundation for something like Ethereum, which in my opinion is not done. I really think that I'm already seeing it. The narrative is shifting from Bitcoin being the big thing to Ethereum being the big thing. And I think we're going to hear about the flippening. We're going to hear about the power and potential of this this ecosystem, which is absolutely true. But I think we're kind of in the midst of another potential, Wyckoff distribution for Ethereum that would last, several months, I think, all the way into June, July, and beyond. So I guess that's my point right now. There's a lot of other coins that we can look into, but essentially all Bitcoin has to do is maintain this kind of Bitcoin dominance that's neutral enough that these other coins can move a little bit more independently, which they're doing right now. I mean, Cardano has been really just a rock star lately. From its own crash, it never dropped below its own bull market support band. It never dropped back down through this Fibonacci channel that it broke out from in February. So, this is set up for some really strong moves. And actually, I haven't looked at this in a little while. If we look at a retracement from this most recent move, I bet we're getting right back into those kind of key levels again. Yeah, look at that. So we're coming up, as far as Cardano is concerned, we're coming up on this 0.618 to the 0.786. If we can get into this channel and kind of build some structure and get above this and then blast off, we could see some huge Cardano movement. Ethereum, I think, is very similar, where after this last kind of pattern, we're also potentially moving back up into a retest of these areas. So, it sucks because it's non-committal. I can't make a strong guarantee or even a prediction. I can just show you what I'm seeing. And again, we've got these relative strength indicators that are just telling a story of a weak moment for Bitcoin right now. Again, we've had throughout this whole bull run just this plummeting in the relative strength index. You can see here, there's just this straight down channel. These at some point have to turn around if we're going to go back into bull mode. And it takes weeks to get those types of confirmations. And there's a lot of other short-term things that are likely to happen. So yeah, thanks for sticking it out with me to the end here. I know I went a little bit long, but I just wanted to show you what I am seeing, thinking, and feeling. The overall story is one of incredible growth. I think this is a time to be excited. Short term, we've broken below the bull market support band. We're looking for accumulation patterns. We don't know if the immediate price action will be going up or down. But when we look at the market as a whole, or even individual projects, and we're doing our own analysis, just remember that analysis is in three pieces. One is the technical analysis. That's what we just looked at. We're looking for structure. We're looking for things that we can predict based on that structure. The other thing is fundamental analysis. So making sure that the fundamentals behind the project are strong. Bitcoin's fundamentals as of right now are still incredibly strong. It is a truly scarce asset. It's the biggest one in the world. We've seen an influx of people to this space, more accessibility to it, more institutional players showing up, wanting to be a part of this. The fundamentals for Bitcoin are very strong. The third piece of analysis, though, is sentiment analysis. And what is the sentiment right now for Bitcoin? Well, how are you feeling about it? That's what the sentiment is. Across the world right now, there is a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of hesitation. There's a lot of wait and see. And that is really confirming of the need to be in an accumulation phase, and that we might be in an accumulation phase. Because if you think and remember back to what an accumulation phase is, the interests that are buying up the Bitcoin are trying to keep sentiment poor and murky so that people are not rushing back in, that they can accumulate over a time period, keeping that narrative down, keeping that excitement down, keeping the speculators out so that they can accumulate. And so that's what I'm seeing right now. That's what I think needs to happen, because once that accumulation happens and all the new people rush in, by which I mean institutions come in and gobble up all of the available Bitcoin, now they're holding it. Now they have a reason to turn that narrative around and say, hey, here's the great news. Here's the new companies that are buying in. JP Morgan's on board, yada, yada, yada. And then they boost that price up because now they have a massive ownership. So until we see that sentiment flip, I think it's just a call that we are needing to form another larger structure. We need to see, I don't think it'll be one-to-one, what the Wyckoff accumulation is. It's fairly miraculous that we saw a distribution that was so textbook, but this level of prolonged accumulation with several moves up and down and some fake outs in both direction, that whole structure, I think we need to see before we have confidence that we have a solid base, a solid foundation to really make a big move up to the upside. That's where I'm sitting right now, and I could be completely wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong about this big zoomed out picture. And so that's what content I'm going to continue to bring to this channel, is just building excitement, building confidence in this space, in the projects, in the potential of a future where you have more control over your finances. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, cheers.